Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Fiber Broadband Association's Five for Breakfast. We're now on our 47th episode of 2025. Before we kick off, I'd like to thank Wesco, the platinum sponsor of Five for Breakfast. In Washington, permitting continues to be an important topic for our industry. The House Energy and Commerce Subcommittee on Communications and Technology held a markup of 28 broadband-related bills focused on streamlining broadband permitting and accelerating deployment. The Fiber Broadband Association submitted a letter for the record supporting the broader goals of advancing permitting reform legislation and specifically highlighting bills that will help speed up fiber broadband permitting process. On December 17th at 10 a.m. Eastern, the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation will be holding an oversight hearing of the FCC, the first full FCC oversight hearing before this committee since June 2020, so quite a long time. Witnesses will include FCC Chairman Brendan Carr and Commissioners Olivia Trusty and Anna Gomez. Yesterday, the Fiber Broadband Association submitted reply comments in the FCC's network modernization proceeding and initial comments responding to the FCC's notice of inquiry seeking public input on state and local regulatory barriers that can slow deployment of wireline telecommunications infrastructure. You know, with last week's Kansas City regional event behind us, our regional Fiber Connect workshops for 2025 are now in our rear view. Our next FBA event is in Palm Springs on December 8th and 9th. That's our Premier Members Meeting. So if you're a Premier member, you're not going to want to miss that. We'll see you in Palm Springs. As we kick off 2026, our first regional event will be focused on tribal broadband in Oklahoma City on February 5th. So you're going to want to be there. We'll look forward to seeing you in Oklahoma City. Well, last week on Fire for Breakfast, our guests were Dr. Adam Dewberry and Shaniqua Corey Moore from the Center on Rural Innovation, or CORI, to discuss a practitioner's guide to rural digital inclusion. Dr. Dewberry and Shaniqua discussed their research on how communities and network operators can work together to ensure that rural communities are able to fully benefit from broadband as we work to connect every home and business with fiber. So if you missed last week's session, you can go to our website and watch the replay. Today on Fiber for Breakfast, our guest is Michel Combes, the Executive Chairman and CEO of Brightspeed, to discuss leading a transformation, Brightspeed's first 6 months under new leadership. Michel is responsible for leading the planning and implementation of the company's strategy and goals, ensuring operational excellence and driving growth across the enterprise. Additionally, he is leading the consumer group focused on growing sales, marketing the company's innovative product line, and creating an exceptional customer experience and building the recognition of the Brightspeed brand, synonymous with speed, reliability, and best-in-class service. Michel also serves as Executive Chairman of Brightspeed's Board of Directors. Michel previously served as the Chief Executive Officer and President of SoftBank Group International, the President and Chief Executive Officer of Sprint. His prior leadership roles also included Chief Executive Officer of Altice NV, Chief Executive Officer of Alcatel-Lucent, Chief Executive Officer of Vodafone Europe, Chairperson and Chief Executive Officer of TDF Group, Chief Financial Officer and Senior Executive President of France Telecom. Michel currently serves on the Board of Directors for 4 listed companies: Philip Morris International, Tessalot, F5 Inc., Eutelsat Communications SA, and he also serves on the board of several private companies. Michel received his master's from École Polytechnique with a focus in engineering and a doctorate from Paris Dauphine University. So welcome, Michel. And for our audience, please type in your questions as we go, and we'll work those in discussions. So with that, let's get things started. So Michel, welcome. It's a real pleasure to have you. Before we jump into Brightspeed, can you share a little bit how you got here? I mean, you certainly have the strongest resume and track record of anyone in the industry. You led some of the biggest telecom companies around the world, and both as an operator, you ran telco businesses, broadband, cable, and also, one of the largest network solutions provider. I mean, in essence, you're the Michael Jordan, or perhaps the Zinedine Zidane of telecom. So how did you end up at the helm of Brightspeed, and what did you learn along the way?
So, good morning, Gary, and thanks for hosting me this morning. That's really a pleasure to be on Fiber for Breakfast, and to be your 47th guest, if I have well understood. So, very proud to be there. Guess that the comparison was probably much too demanding. I would say that I am a kind of veteran of the telecommunication industry, and so I've been honored to drive many companies in Europe and in the US. Telecommunication is a passion. I started in telecommunication now more than 40 years ago, nearly, and just after school, and I have been working in the telecommunication industry for the past 40 years as an engineer, then as a CEO of different companies, whether operators or also manufacturers, as you have just mentioned. I happen to have invested in early days in Brightspeed side by side with Apollo a few years ago, when I was still CEO of SoftBank Group International. And I followed what was built by Brightspeed in the past few years. And I've been always quite impressed by the company, by the real great assets that the company has. And so I have always kept an eye on this company. So when Apollo a few months ago asked me whether I would be ready to take the lead of the company for its new phase, I was actually very excited to do that, despite the fact that I had committed to my wife that I would not take even ever a new CEO position. I had said that I was, let's say, done after more than 30 years in CEO positions, in CEO seats. But I have to admit that I am really happy in this new position, very excited with the prospect of Brightspeed, and very thrilled with the turnaround that we have initiated already 6 months ago.
You know, Michel, you kind of remind me of my dad. He retired from corporate America at 58, built a house on the golf course, spent a month playing golf, and then decided to start a company. So, and then he retired from leading that company at 89. So, you know, hopefully I don't have those genes. Hopefully I can retire earlier than 89. But, you know, it's kind of, you get that bug and you enjoy doing things. So, you know, until recently, you know, we always thought of Brightspeed as kind of the company formed to, you know, acquire the legacy copper network assets, you know, from 20 states, from Lumen, aka CenturyLink. And, you know, my understanding is, you know, Apollo had a thesis: if they invested in an underinvested wireline company, they could turn it into a growth company. In that time, you know, Tom McGuire, you know, he and his retired Verizon guys could get together and get that done. But now it appears that it's this transition from kind of this hard focus on kind of transitioning from copper to fiber and building, to now taking it to the next step on customer acquisition and creating customer value. Can you kind of, I don't know, maybe help course correct what I just said, and tell us kind of what's going on with the transition, and where are you taking the company from here?
No, I guess that what you have said is absolutely accurate, and the thesis that was one of Apollo when they invested is still absolutely intact, meaning to migrate this copper company in a fiber first company. And in just 3 years, I guess that we can say that Brightspeed built something absolutely extraordinary, from launching a startup to deploying one of the fastest growing fiber networks in the country. The progress of the company has been nothing short of remarkable. And under the lead of Tom, I guess that the company did a great job, proven that the company can execute. But now I think that we are building on that foundation to create a more human, data-driven, customer-obsessed, and execution-oriented company. During the past 6 months I have been on board, I've been driving a shift to really a more customer-centric business model. My intent, our intent, is to put the customer experience first. Now that we have the network, we just need to make sure that we delight customers which are joining the company. And so that's a kind of shift of mindset from a fiber build first mindset to a customer first mindset, meaning that we're really putting the customer experience at the center of everything we do, from how we design the network, the way we design our products, where we invest from a network point of view, to how we install our customers on the network and how we support them during their life cycle with us. And we have a mantra, or we have a new promise within the company, which is to make it ridiculously easy for our customers to access exceptional broadband connectivity and for our employees to serve them. And we don't take that lightly. I mean, it's a true promise, and as you can expect, and as you can imagine, when you inherit it from some form of legacy type of technology, legacy IT stack, in order to really make it ridiculously easy, both for the customers and for the employees, that takes a while, and we are really focused on that. Our pledge to customers is unwavering. We will earn their trust by doing the simple things right every single time. That means clear pricing, fast installations, proactive support, and a service experience that really feels human, not transactional. We are going to make the internet feel simple again and unforgettable for the right reasons. So we are really on a mission from build to customer centricity to unlock this internet connectivity in the 20 states where we do operate, and mainly in semi-urban or rural areas where internet is probably even more critical in order to unlock the ability for families to make all what they want connected to internet, but also unlocking small businesses and really igniting economic growth in those communities that we serve every day. So we are proud of that. We are focused on that, maniacally focused, and I expect that you will see, and our customers will see the outcome of that. They are starting to see it in the next coming months, and I perceive as good news the fact that in the past 6 months we have accelerated our growth, we have reduced our churn, so meaning that what we are committed to do start to deliver. Of course, we are not yet perfect, so meaning that we need to continue to improve ourselves. We need to continue to listen to our customers. We need to continue to make sure that we do the right things for the customers. Just to give you a sense, my most important meeting every week with my management team is to sit down for 2 hours and to listen to customers, to listen to what they're telling us in our care centers, and from there, trying to figure out what we can improve in terms of customer experience to really make it ridiculously easy for them to be on our network.
You know, so Michel, I mean, that's really fantastic to hear, because I mean, clearly your experience and a number of operators around the world kind of put you in a good position to know what works and what doesn't work and how to really provide, you know, a quality customer experience. Also, I have to believe that your leadership of one of the biggest network solution companies in the world, Alcatel-Lucent, now Nokia, puts you in a unique position to really understand, you know, what are the products and solutions that can really help transform customer experience. You know, if I look at, you know, New Street Research, my buddy Jonathan Chaplin did a really deep dive study on as Brightspeed was able to, you know, acquire the Lumen assets and put in more fiber, how incredibly accretive fiber is for your business. And, you know, we certainly see John Stankey and, you know, and others that have really doubled down on fiber to help build out So one of the things that we hear from guys like John Stankey is that, first to market with fiber wins the broadband business, but also first with fiber wins the mobile business. How are you looking at, being able to go beyond just being able to provide a broadband connection? What are the things are you looking at, providing mobile offerings or, other services that kind of leverage your broadband infrastructure?
I would say that as usual, you need to move step by step, meaning that first, we really want to be recognized as the best broadband provider in the states in which we do operate with this unique experience that I have described to you. And there is still a long way to go, and I will come back on that in a minute. So that's really the first priority. Then, of course, when you provide connectivity, you can start to provide some additional services. And we'll start from services which are really connected to the connectivity that we're providing, meaning Wi-Fi, to be able to really deliver the best Wi-Fi coverage for our customers with Wi-Fi extenders, Wi-Fi protection, because at the end of the day, customers don't care just about the connection, but they really care about the ease of use at home and to have the best services. That's one of the reasons why just a few weeks ago, we announced that we were now providing Wi-Fi 7 for our customers, which are taking 2 gig or more in terms of connectivity, because it's great to have a connectivity of multi-gig, but if you don't have Wi-Fi 7 at your home, then it's a little bit useless because the service will not deliver to you all the speed which comes to your home. Behind Wi-Fi protection, that's all about what we do in terms of Wi-Fi extenders, just to improve the coverage of the house. When I came, I was very impressed by most or a lot of concerns which were expressed by the customers was the Wi-Fi coverage at home. So meaning that they had the connectivity, but the coverage inside the home, in the different rooms where they really live or where they work, also even outside of the home in the garden, that was not always well taken into account by us when we were installing our broadband connectivity. So now we are making sure that for each connection, for each new customer, we make sure that they have a full-fledged home Wi-Fi coverage with any type of equipment which is needed in order to improve it. But it's also home tech support. And there we go slightly beyond the connectivity, meaning that all our customers have lots of equipment at home and they need technology support in order to help them navigate through all those technologies. And I could go on and on and on. That's already free services that we are already providing. We also provide Wi-Fi protections, kind of cyber protection. So that's really to enrich our broadband connectivity. Related to wireless, I guess that there are strong operators there in the industry which are delivering wireless in our footprint. So I don't see a miss there. And so I'm not seeing that as a priority for the company moving forward. Could we bundle in the future some wireless services? Why not? But that's not the priority now. My priority is really delivering the best broadband connectivity, meaning pushing the speed up to 8 gig as we have announced a few months ago, meaning providing the best Wi-Fi connectivity, meaning delivering the best customer experience, and they're leveraging technology and innovation to move from a reactive reaction to the customer, so where we react to issues that they are facing, to a proactive attitude where we anticipate on the issues that the customers might face either on our network or at home, and anticipating we can really impact immediately their service if they were struggling with it. And third, some of the value-added services that I have mentioned to you in order to delight their experience and to make sure that they can really use this connectivity the way they want, which is going to change their lives. So that's really, we are really providing in all the communities in which we are coming a game changer, a life changer by providing this type of connectivity.
So Michel, I think you're dead on. I have 5 gig symmetric service with Live Oak Fiber here on the island, and I wasn't only able to get a gig to my PC, so I had to. Luckily, Lightera had a nice fiber to the room kit. So as you offer, you're offering 2 gig now, and then you'll soon be having 5 gig and 8 gig, and we're building out these XGS 10 gig symmetric networks. Next year will be the first year of full volume deployment of 25 gig PON, and volume commercial deployment will be soon at 50 gig. We'll get into terabits, and Wi-Fi will have a hard time keeping up. Do you anticipate that you'll start looking at things like fiber to the room? Certainly when I talk to gamers, they would never put anything on Wi-Fi. They'd want to have a direct connection of fiber to their PC or game station. I mean, what's your thoughts on fiber to the room, or the next step to really be able to keep people to get the most out of their broadband connection?
So I would say again a little bit step by step, meaning for me, first it's to unlock the connectivity with the home. So meaning best fiber network, moving from 500 meg up to 8 gig, and making sure that the customer has choices in terms of speed. So that's the first piece. Second is really to make sure that we enrich the home experience. And today the best solution to do that is Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is making progress. Wi-Fi 7 today provide an incomparable quality of service to our customers. And so that's really the second step, to make sure that we democratize Wi-Fi 7 and that we help customers to install Wi-Fi in their home in order to have the best connectivity. And that's what we are doing now with the health check that we have implemented. When our technician goes to the home of a customer, he does a health check, which is not only on the connectivity itself, but which is also on the way the service is really delivered inside the home and how the Wi-Fi does work, and making sure that our customers position Wi-Fi where that will offer them the best connectivity based on their usage. And then we can monitor that during the journey of the customer with us. And if we sense or see that the usage is starting to slow down, potentially because they have a Wi-Fi coverage issue, we can immediately and proactively come back to the customer. So that's the second step, to really own the home with Wi-Fi in order to provide the best connectivity. Then, of course, there might be some additional technology coming our way, like fiber to the room, as you have just mentioned, and that's obviously things that we are looking at. We wish and we want to remain at the forefront of the innovation from a technology point of view, but once again, we will go step by step. Today, my new fight, if I can say so, or my real focus, is how to leverage AI, to leverage technology. So meaning it's not only network, but also the technology which is coming, in order to really help Brightspeed to be even more relevant to its customers. Just to take a few examples, we are implementing AI to monitor network performance, enabling predictive maintenance for maximum reliability, providing smarter network optimization, as I've already mentioned, not only to connect the home, but also inside the home, to accelerate deployment and design. One of the biggest issues that we have in this industry is design, so which can take a little bit of time. So if we want to accelerate installation, leveraging AI in order to do the design, help us to save 1 or 2 days, and so to shorten the time interval during which we can do an installation. And the second is to be more accurate in order to figure out whether, in order to install a new home, we'll have to go buried or we'll have to go aerial. And if we can really be much more accurate on that, then the experience for the customer is much better because we can give an interval. First day we are, let's say, taking the order in a much more accurate manner, and so make sure that we will deliver on time. AI can be also used for proactive fault detection, and so improving the way we manage outages, and also, of course, energy efficiency and sustainability. So that's just for network, and we have started to do a lot of work in that space. But it's also, and we are also leveraging AI to improve the customer experience. As you haven't understood, I am really obsessed by customer experience. It's around driving personalized customer interactions with the customer, so making sure that we have the right offer when the customer is looking for something which is specific. Smarter virtual assistants with advanced AI chatbots that we have now implemented as well in the past few months. Predictive customer support, which is extremely important by monitoring all the data that we capture from customer usage, not only from our network, but also from the equipments for our vendors, such as Candid, which is providing us access to all the data that they have on the CPEs. And so by merging that with our network data, we can really have a very, very accurate understanding of quality of the service that we deliver to the customer and proactively come to the customer. Enhanced field services and scheduling, as I've already mentioned, and also continuous experience improvements where we analyze the feedback of our customers and we try to figure out whether we have some blind areas, blind spots that we might improve in one way or the other. So that's really where we are now focused, now that we have proven that we can build efficiently. It's really about how can we operate better for our customers? How can we deliver a better experience for the customer? How can we make sure that the customers get what they are looking for and can really leverage broadband in their everyday life?
You know, Michel, so AI is changing the world, obviously, and it's accelerating at a crazy pace. So we certainly can imagine how using AI to optimize, deployment and customer experience and the network in the home. Next week, our guest is a researcher going to talk about his studies showing how there's a perfect correlation between the quality of your connection and the end user's use of AI. So at fiber, 75% of fiber users use AI on a daily basis, and when you cable's less, DSL's less, fixed wireless less, and less than 10% on satellite. So as you have these fiber providers, they're all using AI, and you've optimized the network. Is there something from the customer end looking in that helps them be able to leverage AI in a more efficient manner or be able to get more benefit, kind of looking from the customer towards the network?
Yes, so that's obviously something which is important. So they can sense and leverage AI in the way they interact with us. So, for example, when they are using a chatbot or a smart virtual assistant in order to interact with the company, so that's a better way for them to have a better experience and to make sure that we can answer to their questions in a real-time manner. They can also have access to the company through their app, which can give them tons of data on the quality of their install and potentially do themselves some kind of self-serve, meaning they have to reboot one equipment in one room because that's where they are experiencing an issue, and it's not at all the connection, but it might be the Wi-Fi, which is struggling for different type of reasons. So that's where they can really use AI in order to interact with us and to improve, once again, the experience that we have within the company. And then second, as you were rightly pointing out, of course, the world is moving to AI. The world is shifting to AI, so which is boosting data consumption, meaning that customers need more and more data at home in order to be able to live their life. And so, I mean that obviously they are really keen to move up in the speed tiers, and that's what we see every day. More and more customers which are migrating from 200 to 500 to 1 gig to 2 gig and now to 8 gig. I mean, there is a clear appetite for customers to embrace this type of speeds because they are using more and more the network for either their private life or also for all the people which are remotely working from home, and for which this type of broadband connectivity is really a game changer in the way they operate. So I share your point of view and your excitement around AI, around the development of AI, and I guess that one of our responsibility is really to make sure that we can provide the connection that the customers are really expecting in order to be able to work with that. On top of that, we have also a role, in a way, in supporting communities around technology. And so it goes beyond just providing connectivity, but supporting local sports, art, music, but more importantly, education and organization that uplift and empower. And in fact, to help young kids probably to access to this type of technology where it would not have been feasible for them in the past. I will just take an example because I am today in North Carolina. We have a technology lab for North Carolina high schools, and which is giving students the digital literacy skills they need to pursue higher education or employment opportunities. And so I see that also as one of our mission. Our mission is really to bring internet everywhere, but then our mission is to help educate people to use internet in the right way and to become familiar with AI, which will be all around the place in the next coming years.
Well, Michel, I want to sneak in a couple of questions before we run out of time, and I could talk to you all day. It's just a real pleasure. So now that the smoke is starting to clear on the NTI BEAD funding, maybe smoke is clearing, I don't know. It seems like it never ends. Is this funding worth the squeeze?
Well, I guess that as you know, because we have been vocal there, I guess that we have been awarded a significant amount of money in this federal BEAD program, around 18 of the 20 states in which we operate. And yes, it's really worthwhile. I mean, that it will allow us to increase our coverage in places where most likely just as a private investor, that would have been difficult. And if I add up BEAD programs and also the funding, the other funding programs which pre-exist before BEAD, I guess that we have been awarded slightly less than $1 billion in the past few years, and that will allow us to bring connectivity. When I take what is really subsidized and what we call the pull-through, meaning the additional homes that we can connect because we need to deserve those new subsidized homes, that will allow us probably to bring internet to 600,000 new homes altogether in our footprint of 5 million customers. So that's really a big uplift when you think about that. And so I guess that this program is really well suited in order to democratize access to internet in semi-rural and rural areas.
So last question, and so you're on the board of Eutelsat, right? And, you know, I have a hard time as I go around the world when I try to explain how our government is putting states in headlocks, trying to force them to convert fiber locations to satellite, you know, pushing satellite. What are your thoughts on satellite for last mile communications?
My thought is very simple. Don't oppose technologies. I mean, fortunately, there are several technologies which can help to provide services to as many households as we can. We are pushing the envelope in our footprint. As you know, we have a footprint of 7 million homes, and we are pushing the envelope by targeting fiber to 5 million of those homes. So which means that remains 2 million homes today which are still relying on copper. And we know, unfortunately, that copper technology, and I can say so because as at Alcatel-Lucent, we were probably one of the main providers of copper technology. Copper technology has been a great technology a few decades ago, but copper technology cannot cope with the new challenges that we are facing in terms of speed, which are expecting by our customers. So which means that we need to find solutions for those customers which will probably don't get access to fiber every time soon, because that would be much too expensive to get there, even with the subsidies or the subsidies programs which have been implemented by the different governments. And so that's where fixed wireless access, wireless, satellite, all those new technologies have a role to play. So that's the way I look at it. And I really think that at the end of the day, we need to leverage all those technologies in order to deliver the best service to our customers. And today, we are already leveraging, for example, wireless ourselves when customers are struggling with their copper, and where we are not, we will not deliver fiber anytime soon, just because even on wireless, you can get a better experience than what you have on copper. So if needed, we might also distribute satellite and fixed wireless access. I am agnostic to technology, assuming that we can provide the best service to our customers.
Well, Michel, welcome back here to the U.S. We are so delighted to see you at the helm of Brightspeed, and so excited to see where you're going to take the company. I mean, Tom McGuire has done a fantastic job of getting it to where it is, and it looks like you're standing on his shoulders, going to take it to the next level. So we're thrilled to see you here, and thanks so much for sharing your thoughts with us today. And thanks everybody for joining us today, and we look forward to getting back together next Wednesday. We're going to have Roger Enter, the analyst and founder of Recon Analytics, to discuss why AI's future depends on fiber. So you're not going to want to miss that. So see everybody next Wednesday, and thanks again, Michel, and we wish you the best of luck at Brightspeed.